All right, let's get into one of the most brutal but effective survival principles out there. It comes straight from the crucible of ancient warfare, and it's called the Law of the Burning Wagon. Yeah, it's a pretty grim lesson, and it's all about the true cost of staying alive when everything is on the line. And this quote, this is the core truth of the whole thing. It's a stark statement, right? It just immediately establishes the stakes. The idea is that in a real crisis, all the things you think you need, your comforts, your possessions, they can actually become the very things that guarantee your destruction.
So, let's set the scene here. We're going to go back thousands of years, deep into the mountains of the East. There's an army, and they are completely trapped in hostile territory, and they are being hunted. But, and this is the key, their biggest problem isn't the enemy chasing them. It's the weight they're carrying with them.
This is our army. 10,000 Greek soldiers. These guys are mercenaries, and they're stranded hundreds and hundreds of miles from home after the guy who hired them got killed in a failed coup. They're skilled, they're battle-hardened, but they are completely and utterly alone.
And this is the force that's hunting them down. A massive Persian army, 10 times their size, and they are determined to wipe them out before they can escape. I mean, the odds are just impossible. Their only advantage should be their speed.
So here it is, the central, fatal problem. With 100,000 enemies right on their heels, every single moment counts. They need to be fast, they need to be light, they need to be mobile. But they're not. They are crawling along, basically inviting their own destruction. So why?
This is why. The wagons, they refuse to abandon the spoils from their campaign. We're talking about carts just loaded down with gold, furniture, extra clothes, and all sorts of other comforts. The very things they fought so hard for are now the things leading them straight into a trap. So, facing certain annihilation, their commander, a brilliant strategist named Xenophon, he understands that the normal way of doing things is going to fail. He needs a radical, just brutal solution to save his men. He's got to change the entire equation. And Xenophon doesn't ask for a vote. He doesn't open the floor for a discussion. He recognizes that survival in a moment like this requires absolute clarity and immediate action. The decision is made, the command is final. Just those 3 words, it's a devastating order. Everything they own, their wealth, their comfort, their sense of security, all of it has to be turned to ash. It's the ultimate act of sacrificing the present for even a chance at a future. And the situation really just breaks down into its most basic parts. This is the choice they face. You can cling to the weight of your comfort and accept death, or you can embrace the sacrifice that's required for speed and for life. There's no third option here. See, survival isn't free. It has a price, and that price has to be paid in full right now. For these 10,000 soldiers, the cost was every single material possession they had. They had to become light enough to fight and fast enough to live.
Okay, so let's pull this out of the ancient world and bring it right into our own. Because this isn't just a history lesson, It's a practical law of survival. The wagons we all drag behind us today, well, they might look different, but they are just as deadly.
The whole premise here is that the complex systems we all rely on, our supply chains, our financial systems, the power grid, they're a lot more fragile than we like to think. And when things get chaotic, mobility, adaptability, and independence become the most valuable assets you can have. So what are your wagons? Well, they're the burdens that tie you down. It could be the crushing weight of debt that limits your freedom, or a complete reliance on the supermarket for every meal. It could even be something psychological, like a deep-seated fear of basic discomfort, of being cold or being hungry. And here is the direct warning that this ancient law gives us. The time to get lighter is now, while things are still relatively stable. The voluntary sacrifices you make today, paying off that debt, learning a new skill, becoming less dependent, those are the fires that will save you from being consumed by the chaos of tomorrow. So how do we actually apply this? The Law of the Burning Wagon isn't just some cool story. It's an actionable protocol. It's a clear, strategic process for increasing your own freedom and your own resilience. It's a simple 3-step procedure. First, you have to be brutally honest with yourself and identify what is weighing you down. What are your wagons? Second, you have to metaphorically set the fire. You have to make the hard choice to eliminate that dependency. And third, you use that newfound freedom to move, to adapt, and to survive. Because the alternative? Stagnation. And that's death. And that brings us to the final critical question. This isn't theoretical. Think of it as a challenge. I want you to look at your own life, at the wagons that you are pulling. If you had to get lighter, faster, and freer tomorrow, what is the first thing you would have to burn?